So today I just wanted to take a quick look at 1981's Polyester. This is the first of the John Waters films to actually get an R rating. Previously, before, I believe everything was an NC-17, the X rating, or just unrated. But yeah, this is definitely, I guess you could say, one of the more mainstream of the John Waters films, even though it's still fairly outlandish and out there. You've still got the crazy dialogue, but it's definitely a lot more polished, a lot more toned down, and I don't know if it's more the fact that it was treated as a period piece, but it definitely has very much, I guess you could say, somewhat of a 1950s look. So you have Devine playing Francine Fishpaw, who is very much a neglected wife. Her husband just takes her for granted, doesn't care too much for her, doesn't think much of her. This film also features, I guess you could say, a little gimmick called Smell-O-Rama. Most of you may be familiar with this. The inspiration from that was drawn from William Castle, who was very much the gimmick king, if you will. But the film features, I guess you could say, the advertising device, Smell-O-Rama, because apparently Francine Fishpaw is a woman who has a very sensitive or heightened sense of smell. So in order to engage and bring that experience to the audience, there were several little scratch and sniff cards that were handed out during the audience in theater. All of these were numbered. So of course, number 1 being the rose, 2 is flatulence, 3 is glue, 4 is pizza, 5 is gasoline, 6 is skunk, 7 is natural gas, 8 is leather, 9 is dirty shoes, and 10 is air freshener. So throughout the course of the film, you have a little number that would pop up, basically just letting you know when to scratch and sniff said number. That would correspond with that scene, just to make it more of an interactive experience. To my understanding, the DVD copies for this film in 1999 did have a reprinted Smell-O-Rama card. So I guess you could say consumers did have a second opportunity to engage in this experience. I was lucky enough to have bought a copy of this film some time back ago that did actually feature the Smell-O-Rama card. To my dismay, my card was actually bent and folded, I'm assuming just due to transit or packaging. But still, I'm happy to have a copy of that card. Obviously, I've never used it. I have no intention of using it. It's just more the novelty of actually having just a little item like that, which really piques my interest. But you know, it was somewhat of a bummer, just seeing that it was slightly damaged. But yeah, I mean, the whole point of the film here, obviously, is Francine Fishpaw has somewhat of a crisis because she finds out that her husband is cheating on her. She later picks up with a new love, which is played by Tab Hunter. This is the first time that the pair would work together. Obviously, the second time they worked together was for a film project that Tab Hunter himself wanted to work on, and he had requested Devine. So the second film that they worked on together was Lust in the Dust. By chance, the third film that they had worked on was 1988's Out of the Dark. They did not have any scenes together. Devine just made more of an appearance, but still both appeared in the same film. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a very fun film. I definitely enjoyed it. It still has that Waters flair. You have the issue with the foot stomping, glue sniffing son, who is later sent to rehab. He's rehabilitated. He returns and he paints famous portraits of shoes and feet. You have the daughter who is pregnant. She wants, one of my favorite lines, honestly, is she yells, "I'm having an abortion and I can't wait." You know, just, it's very John Waters, just to you know, just pick at those sensitive spots for people here and there. But yeah, she obviously does get sent off to a young mother's home, if you will. She is relieved of her burden and returns. And the scene in which, I guess you could say initially we meet Tab Hunter's character is actually one of my favorites, because she's driving past a car accident. Why on earth she stopped, I don't know. She didn't even know the person who was involved in that accident, but she stops just to be nosy. You know, everybody likes to be a looky-loo. And Tab Hunter's character waves her over like, come here, like really excited. You know, she's not going to say no to the cute guy, right? So she gets off her car, she goes and walks over, and he shows her the dead body. In the background is actually my favorite part. You have a paramedic holding a severed head. He's kind of like he doesn't know what to do with the thing, so he just chucks it over his shoulder, tosses it into the woods like it's nothing. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, I guess you could say pickup advice from Tab Hunter, how to get a chick, show her a dead body. Obviously it worked because she got in his car. Obviously he turns out to be not what Francine had hoped. Their romance does not last very long, but you know, for John Waters films, things end on a happy note, as happy as possible, at least. So obviously you have the rehabilitated son, the refurbished daughter, and Francine is, she's found her own purpose in life, I guess you could say. But yeah, definitely loads of fun. There are tons of crazy scenes in this film, as with any John Waters film, but you know, if you haven't seen this, I will leave that for you to discover. If you have never seen a Devine film, I would say that this would be a gentle introduction. I wouldn't recommend jumping straight into Pink Flamingos if you're not accustomed to anything extreme. I would say either Polyester or Female Trouble may be a gentler introduction before going further back and looking at the more extreme work. But yeah, that is all I have for you guys today, and I will talk to you later. Devine playing, oh damn it, I totally forgot.